You know how people say one moment can change your entire life? For me, it was a company dinner, some high-end, stuffy corporate event for Langston and Red, the advertising firm where my wife, Melissa, worked. I wasn't even supposed to be there. I hate those things. Everyone in tailored suits pretending to be friends while eyeing the next promotion like sharks sniffing blood. But Melissa insisted. "It's good for appearances," she said with that fake sweet tone that always had razor blades under it. I should have trusted my gut and stayed home. The room was all polished glass and artificial smiles. Wine flowing. Forks clinking. Everyone pretending to be someone important. I stood in the corner with a whiskey, nodding politely at people who couldn't care less who I was. Melissa? She was across the room, draped around her coworker Daniel, tall, gym-fit, with that smug, backhanded charm kind of look. The type of guy who thinks he's God's gift because he once got a compliment in high school. They were laughing. Too close. Too familiar. Her hand lingered on his chest like it belonged there. But I kept my cool. I always do. Then came the moment that cracked the mask off everyone. Daniel, the jackass, raised his glass and said loud enough for the whole table to hear. "Hey, how does it feel to be a loser? Your wife's the breadwinner in your house, right?" The table roared with laughter. Even the damn waiter smiled. And Melissa? She laughed the loudest. Tossed her head back like it was the funniest joke of the night. But me? I didn't blink. I didn't flinch. I just took a slow sip of my drink and looked directly at her boss, Langston himself. Old guy, thick eyebrows, heavy on Botox. I smiled. "How does it feel to know that this loser owns 90% share of your company?" Dead. Silence. Langston's face turned ghost white. A vein popped in his temple. You could hear forks drop. See, what Melissa never bothered to ask, or maybe didn't care about, was what I actually do. I'm not flashy. I don't post on LinkedIn. But I built a tech analytics firm from scratch and flipped it into a gold mine. Bought into several companies, one of them, Langston and Red. Quietly. I liked it that way. Melissa always saw me as comfortable or steady, code for boring. She didn't know I was powerful. Not until that second. Her eyes locked with mine. And in that frozen moment, something passed between us, not gratitude, not respect. No, what I saw in her eyes was anger. Not, "Oh my God, I didn't know you did that," but, "How dare you make me look small tonight?" That's when the first crack inside me formed. Tiny. But irreversible. The room tried to recover. Someone coughed. Daniel excused himself. Langston approached me like a priest walking toward a bomb. "Mr. Harper," he stammered, "a pleasure, we didn't know you were." "Don't worry, Langston," I said. "I'm just the loser who pays your salary." I left early. Melissa didn't follow. On the drive home, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I thought. My hands were steady on the wheel, but my mind was racing. That laugh, played on repeat in my head. Her joy at my humiliation. Her comfort next to Daniel. The way she looked bored around me but alive around him. That's when I knew, something was wrong. Very wrong. It wasn't just a joke or a bad night. It was a symptom. And I was about to uncover the disease. The night that was supposed to be about networking turned into a quiet declaration of war between me and the woman I married. But here's the catch. She didn't know the war had started yet. Not yet that I didn't confront her that night. Something told me not to. Not yet. You don't barge into battle without scouting the terrain first. When Melissa came home, an hour after me, she pretended nothing happened. She dropped her clutch on the hallway table and called out, "Why'd you leave early, like she hadn't just laughed at me in front of a room full of snakes. "I had business to handle," I said flatly, not looking up from the glass of bourbon in my hand. She walked into the kitchen, heels clicking like bullets on tile, and opened the fridge. "You made that whole dinner so awkward," she said, pretending to grab a bottle of sparkling water but eyeing me in the reflection of the microwave. "Why would you say that to Langston?" I didn't answer. Because the truth? I was watching her. Not her words, those were always polished, rehearsed. No, I watched her body language. The subtle stiffening of her shoulders when I looked at her too long. The twitch at the corner of her lip. The fact that she didn't ask why I owned 90% of her boss's company. She didn't care. She was just pissed I stole the spotlight. The next few days were a quiet hell. Melissa started dressing differently for work, tighter skirts, blouses unbuttoned just enough to make you wonder. New perfume too. A scent I'd never smelled before, something floral and sharp, not at all her usual vanilla. I asked her once, casually, "New fragrance?" She hesitated just half a beat too long. "Oh, it was a gift from the girls at work." Lie. Her coworkers hate her. Then came the late nights. Meetings ran long, client emergencies, team drinks, excuse after excuse. I didn't accuse her. I played dumb. Asked questions I already knew the answers to. Let her lie straight to my face. The crack in my gut spread like spiderwebs. So I started digging. First, the phone. Useless. Locked tighter than a vault, and she always had it on her. Shower. Kitchen. Bathroom. Like it was her damn oxygen supply. Next, the car. Jackpot. Tucked under the passenger seat was a small, crumpled receipt from a hotel downtown. Not a 5-star place, no, the type of hotel that rents by the hour. Dated last Wednesday. Room 219. 2 guests. Charged for extra services. My fingers went cold. I stared at it for a long time, wondering if it was real. Wishing it wasn't. But I'm not the kind of man who runs on wishes. The next day, I had a friend of mine, Tony, do what he does best. Tech guy. Quiet. Discreet. I gave him her phone's serial number and access to the Wi-Fi logs at our place. It took him 4 hours. What he found made my blood boil. Melissa had been messaging Daniel through encrypted apps. Hidden under folders labeled Work Notes and Fitness Tracker. She deleted the apps after every meeting. Smart. Paranoid. Guilty. One of the texts read. "Last night was insane. You're so much better than him." I stared at that line for 20 minutes. So much better than him. I wasn't her husband anymore. I was a benchmark. A joke. A placeholder for her to compare her side pieces to. I felt something die inside me that night. Something cold and steady. The kind of thing you never get back once it's gone. I didn't confront her right away. Not yet. The truth was now on my side. And I intended to use it like a weapon. But deep down, I knew this wasn't just a fling. This was war. And Melissa, the woman I once loved, was the enemy. The night I confronted her, the air in the house felt different. Heavy. Like it knew what was coming. Melissa had just come back from one of her strategy meetings, her hair tousled in that fake careless way she always did when she wanted to look effortless. She dropped her purse on the table and kicked off her heels. "God, I'm starving." "You didn't order anything?" I didn't answer. She turned to look at me and paused. I was sitting at the kitchen island, phone in hand, a folded receipt beside me. My laptop open, messages displayed. Daniel's name in bold. That's when she knew. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Like a cornered animal deciding whether to fight or flee. Where were you last Wednesday night? I asked calmly. She blinked. I told you, work ran late. Room 219. Madison Inn. 2 guests. Extra services. I pushed the receipt toward her. Silence. Then a half-hearted scoff. Are you serious? You're going through my trash now? No. Your lies just aren't buried deep enough. She crossed her arms, defensive posture, leaning against the counter like this was some petty argument. You're being ridiculous, Carter. That could be anyone's receipt. You always overthink things. Tony pulled your encrypted messages. I read every word. Especially the one where you called me a pathetic loser who can't even make me feel like a woman. The room froze. Her face, stone cold now, didn't flinch. She didn't cry. She didn't apologize. Instead, she gave me a smile. The kind a wolf might give a rabbit who finally realized it's been hunted all along. Oh, that's what this is about, she said slowly. Your fragile little ego. Poor Carter, finally realizing his perfect little life isn't so perfect. I stood up, still calm. Still not yelling. I gave you everything. You never had to work a day in your life. You chose to. I supported you. I stayed loyal. And you threw it all away for that plastic frat boy in a suit. Loyal? She barked a bitter laugh. Loyal? No, Carter. You were boring. Predictable. A paycheck with arms. You think power makes you desirable? You think owning part of my company gives you control over me? She stepped closer, eyes burning. You were never a husband. You were a shadow. Always working. Always talking in numbers. I got tired of pretending you made me happy. That was it. The mask fully off. I don't remember what emotion hit me first, rage, betrayal, heartbreak. It all came crashing in like a tidal wave. But still, I didn't scream. I didn't break things. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Get out." She didn't move. What? You heard me. Get your things and get out of my house. This is our house. No. It's in my name. Paid for with my money. And as of this moment, you are no longer welcome in it. She smirked. You're bluffing. I picked up my phone and tapped a button. Within 60 seconds, the security app on my screen flashed, lockdown enabled. The code changed. Her access revoked. She realized then, maybe for the first time, that I wasn't playing her game anymore. I watched her storm upstairs, slam doors, throw things into a suitcase like some bad soap opera. She hurled insults all the way down the stairs. You'll die alone. Daniel treats me like a queen, you're just a wallet. You think this makes you a man? The door slammed so hard the walls shook. I didn't move. I just stood there, in the kitchen we built together, in the silence we used to share, and let it all sink in. She was gone. But the wound? That was just starting to open. When Melissa left that night, it wasn't quiet. It was thunder in the hallway, venom in every word she spit, a storm crashing through the front door as she slammed it shut. But what followed? Silence. The kind of silence that echoes. I sat at the kitchen island long after she was gone, whiskey glass untouched, phone buzzing with messages I didn't read. The house felt bigger, emptier. Not because she was gone, but because everything she'd tainted stayed. Her coat still hung by the door. Her perfume still lingered in the air. Her lies still screamed through the walls like a ghost I couldn't exorcise. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, arms crossed like I was in a coffin, thoughts spiraling. My brain kept replaying everything, the hotel receipt, her laughter at dinner, the smirk when I exposed her in the kitchen. That damn smirk. It was the look of a woman who never respected me. Not once. How long had I been blind? How long had she looked at me like that behind fake smiles and cold kisses? It wasn't just betrayal. It was a revelation. A cruel unveiling of a truth I'd tried to ignore for too long. I had married a woman who saw love as a transaction, loyalty as optional, and me as disposable. And somehow, it still hurt like hell. The next morning, I walked into the living room and saw the couch pillow on the floor. Just a small thing. But it wrecked me. I sat down, picked it up, and felt it in my hands like it had meaning. Maybe it did. It was from that road trip to Arizona she begged for. We stayed in a tiny desert town, drank cheap wine, made love like teenagers under the stars. Back then, I believed her laugh. Her kiss. Her eyes when she said, "You're my home." God, I was a fool. I felt rage rise in my chest. I stood up, grabbed the pillow, and hurled it across the room. It knocked over the photo frame on the mantel. Our wedding picture. I walked to it slowly. Picked it up. We looked so young in that photo. Me in a slightly wrinkled tux, her in that lacy gown she insisted on. She had her hand on my chest, smiling like she'd won the lottery. I turned it over and found her handwriting on the back. "Forever yours, M." I stared at it until my eyes blurred. Then I tore the photo in half. The following days were a blur of lawyer calls, password changes, cancelled cards, and dead silence from Melissa. Not a single call. Not a single apology. I found out she moved in with Daniel 2 days after I kicked her out. Fast, huh? Like she'd planned it. She'd swapped our history for instant comfort. Our years for a few nights of flattery. I told myself I didn't care. But I did. The loneliness didn't come at once. It crept in slowly. The empty side of the bed. The echo in the kitchen. The way no one asked how my day was anymore. Not even to fake it. But you know what cut the deepest? It wasn't that she cheated. It was that I let myself believe she loved me, long after she didn't. I started seeing a therapist. At first just to vent, but slowly it helped. Unpacking the weight I didn't know I was carrying. Turns out, Melissa had been emotionally gone long before she ever physically left. That made it worse in some ways. Better in others. Because it wasn't about Daniel. It wasn't even about me. It was about her. Who she was. What she needed to feel powerful. Desired. Superior. She didn't just betray me. She used me until I stopped being useful. That realization? It didn't heal me. But it made me dangerous again. Because now, I wasn't hurt. I was rebuilding. And I never build small. If you think betrayal ends when they walk out the door, you've never been divorced. Melissa didn't just cheat on me. She decided to punish me for catching her. Like I was the villain for holding up a mirror to her lies. 3 days after she moved in with Daniel, I got served. Divorce papers. Filed by her. No message. No warning. Just cold ink on heavy paper like she was signing a business contract. She was demanding spousal support. Spousal support. After all I did. After all she destroyed. She wanted me to pay her to keep living comfortably with the guy she cheated on me with. My lawyer, Sam, called me the same hour. "Carter, I've seen a lot of nasty cases. But this one? She's playing for blood." Melissa's demands were laughable: half the house, monthly support, the Audi I bought her, and even part of the condo I owned downtown. Property she never stepped foot in. "She wants the condo because it overlooks the lake," Sam said. "No," I thought. "She wants it because I own it." Melissa didn't just want comfort. She wanted victory. She wanted to walk away from our marriage with trophies. Assets she could show off. A lifestyle she didn't earn. That's when I knew she wasn't coming back. Not even as a memory. She had turned into something else. Something hollow. Beautiful, but venomous. So I played her game. Only smarter. First move, I froze all joint accounts. Legally, of course. But quietly. That Audi she loved? Leased under my business name. Gone within 24 hours. The condo? Transferred to a private holding company I'd set up years ago. I'd almost forgotten about it myself. Now it came in handy. Second move, I went on offense. Melissa had no idea how much I knew about her messages, her affairs, even a few inappropriate expenses she charged to her company's corporate card. Dinners with Daniel. Hotel rooms. A little too bold. So I hired a forensic accountant. We pulled receipts, statements, even GPS logs. Turned over everything to Sam. The moment her lawyer got wind of it, the tone changed. Suddenly she wasn't so loud. Suddenly, there were offers. She's willing to settle, Sam said. If we drop the fraud claims. I almost laughed. She went from queen to pawn in a matter of weeks. But I didn't want revenge. Not like that. I didn't need to bury her, I just wanted her gone. Cleanly. Without a dime more than she deserved, which was nothing. We agreed on a bare minimum settlement. She kept her clothes, her toothbrush, and a few kitchen gadgets she insisted on. Fine. Let her keep the air fryer. I'd never used it anyway. No spousal support. No property. No second chances. When she came to sign the final papers, she didn't even look at me. She wore sunglasses indoors and pretended she didn't recognize the man across the table. But I saw something. A flicker. Not regret. Rage. Because for the first time in our marriage, I had beaten her at her own game. And she hated losing more than she ever loved winning. The divorce finalized in 43 days. Fast. Brutal. Surgical. And just like that, she was a ghost. A bitter memory in designer heels. But the war left scars. Trust. Shattered. Peace. Fragile. Love? I didn't even know what that meant anymore. But I'd survived her. That had to count for something. People think divorce is the end. It's not. It's just the silence that follows the explosion. After the papers were signed, there was no celebration. No freedom party. No newfound peace. Just an emptiness where my marriage used to be. I could breathe again, but every breath tasted like dust. The house felt hollow. Melissa's perfume was finally gone, replaced by the faint scent of paint and wood polish. I'd gutted the bedroom first. New sheets, new mattress, new curtains, anything to scrub away the memory of her lying to me under those old ones. But no matter what I changed, I couldn't get rid of that lingering feeling. Loneliness? Maybe. But it wasn't just that. It was the echo of betrayal. It sticks to your skin like oil. Even when you scrub, something always stays behind. Tony, my friend and the guy who helped uncover Melissa's lies, kept checking in. Man, you should be celebrating, he texted one night. You got out clean. I stared at the message a long time. Clean? Sure. But not untouched. You don't walk out of hell without burns. About 2 weeks post-divorce, the first sign came that Melissa wasn't done. A DM popped up on my private Instagram. A fake profile. No posts. No name. Just a message. You think you won. But you'll see what you really lost. I didn't even respond. Just blocked it. But more came. Emails. Comments from burner accounts. Some passive-aggressive, some outright vicious. She never signed her name, but I knew her style. Like fingerprints in fire. Her bitterness didn't surprise me. What did? How little I cared. That was the real win. Not the money. Not the house. Not even the dignity I clawed back. It was the indifference. She couldn't reach me anymore. But one night, out of nowhere, I got a text. From her. No fake accounts. No disguise. Just, Melissa, lighting up my screen like a virus. Melissa, you didn't even fight for me. I stared at it, stunned. Was she serious? Me, you cheated. Lied. Mocked me. What exactly was I supposed to fight for? 3 dots appeared. Then vanished. No reply. Because there was no answer. Melissa didn't want me back. She wanted control back. And when she realized she lost her grip, she flailed. Like all manipulators do. I didn't block her. I didn't need to. She was just irrelevant. In the weeks that followed, I started doing the things I'd stopped doing during our marriage. I played guitar again. Went for 5 a.m. runs. Even joined a community business group just for the hell of it. Not to network, just to be around people who didn't lie when they smiled. One of the women in the group, Leah, asked me out for coffee. I almost said no. Trust wasn't a door I was ready to open again. But something about her felt different. Grounded. No games. She looked me in the eye like she wasn't afraid of what she'd see. We sat for 3 hours and didn't even check the time. No flirting. No expectations. Just real talk. Real stories. Real peace. After she left, I realized something. For the first time in years, I wasn't angry. I wasn't broken. I was healing. Melissa could keep her lies, her games, her fake victories. I had something better now. Myself. They don't warn you about how quiet peace is. No fireworks. No angelic choirs. Just stillness. And after the chaos Melissa left behind, stillness felt strange, almost suspicious. Like waiting for a bomb that didn't go off. But eventually, I learned to sit in it. Breathe in it. Enjoy it. I wasn't fully healed. Not yet. But I was stable. And after months of emotional whiplash, stability felt like a damn luxury. Leah and I kept meeting for coffee. Never forced. No labels. Just 2 people who'd both been through some mess, trying to find something human again. She had a calmness to her, didn't flinch when I mentioned Melissa. Didn't pity me either. One night she asked, what hurt more, losing her or realizing who she really was? I didn't answer right away. Because that question? It cut deep. I think I lost her long before she left, I finally said. But the real pain? Was realizing how long I let it happen. I started getting back into my old projects, revisiting companies I'd invested in, fixing what needed fixing, externally and internally. For a while, it felt like I was me again. The real me. Not the man pretending to be okay in a dead marriage. Not the wallet she called a husband. Then, the twist. Melissa showed up. Not in person. That would have been too bold, even for her. But her name appeared again, this time in a call from Langston. Carter, we need to talk. It's about Melissa. I paused. You still employ her? She resigned. 2 weeks ago. But, she leaked internal data before leaving. Competitor picked it up. We traced the transfer to her credentials. I let out a low breath. What does this have to do with me? She mentioned your name when she quit. Said you'd take care of her if this backfired. Carter, we're staring down a lawsuit. If she implicates you. She's lying, I snapped. I've had zero contact with her. You know that. I do. But others might not. There it was. The final act of a bitter woman who couldn't win, so she tried to burn the stage down instead. Melissa knew her career was dead in that firm. She probably thought if she couldn't rise, she'd drag me down with her. That call sparked another wave inside me. Not rage. Not fear. Just clarity. I had spent months thinking she might eventually fade away. That the storm she brought would pass. But people like Melissa? They don't fade. They fester. I called Sam the next day. Need you to prepare a cease and desist. Also start collecting statements, anything proving she's made false claims against me. He didn't ask questions. Just got to work. I reached out to Tony too, told him to pull metadata, Wi-Fi logs, timestamps from the last few months, anything showing zero contact between me and Melissa. We documented everything. I wasn't just protecting myself. I was ending her access. For good. A week later, a formal statement went out. I denied all involvement, presented digital proof, and quietly reached out to the board members of Langston & Red. Melissa's name became radioactive. No firm would touch her now. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just exhaled. This time, when I stood over the wreckage, it wasn't my life in ruins. It was hers. And all I'd done was tell the truth. 6 months after Melissa walked out of my life, and tried to drag me down with her, I stood on the balcony of the lakefront condo she once tried to steal. Coffee in hand, sun rising, phone silent. Peace, finally. And this time, I wasn't suspicious of it. It was earned. The legal mess she stirred with Langston & Red? Dead and buried. The board had formally cleared my name. Sam handled the fallout like a surgeon. Melissa tried to fight it for a few weeks, sent some threats, a couple of "you'll regret this" messages from a new burner account. Then she vanished. Word got out about what she did. She didn't just lose her job, she lost her reputation. The marketing world's small when you burn every bridge on the way out. I heard she tried to start a PR consultancy. No one bit. Last I checked, Daniel had moved out. Guess he figured out what it meant to date a beautiful hurricane with no off switch. I didn't care about the details. She could disappear into the sunset for all I cared, as long as she stayed the hell out of my rearview. People kept asking me if I'd ever get married again. The answer? Not anytime soon. I don't hate love. I'm not bitter. But trust, that thing I once gave so freely? It's a locked gate now. And the key is earned, not handed over just because someone smiles pretty and says all the right things. I still see Leah sometimes. We go on walks. Talk about everything and nothing. She never pressures. Never asks about what we are. I think she understands that sometimes, healing isn't about finding the next person. It's about finding yourself again. Looking back, I see now that I ignored 1,000 red flags because I was in love with the idea of her. The version she showed me in the beginning. The sweet words. The ambition. The fake devotion. But real love? That doesn't mock you at dinner parties. It doesn't lie to your face. It doesn't cheat, then play victim when caught. If you're with someone who makes you feel small to feel big themselves, run. I don't care how beautiful they are. I don't care how good the moments used to be. If your gut tells you something's wrong, it is. Here's what I learned, the hard way. Loyalty means nothing to a person who sees relationships as currency. Silence speaks volumes. So does laughter, especially when it's at your expense. You can love someone deeply and still be better off without them. Winning isn't revenge. Winning is walking away with your soul intact. People ask me if I regret marrying her. Truth? No. Because without Melissa, I would have never seen what I'd become, a man who tolerated disrespect disguised as love. A man who gave and gave, waiting for something real in return. Now, I don't wait anymore. Now, I build. I protect my peace like it's my life's work. And I never apologize for cutting out poison. I left the wedding photo torn, by the way. But I kept the half with me in it. A reminder. Not of her. Of me, the man I was before her, and the man I became after. Stronger. Wiser. Sharper. And finally. Free.